Top of the morning, good people. Welcome to another edition of Double Innocence with your boy E-Dubb A.K.A. the Silent Assassin. There's certain topics of conversation that will bring the Silent Assassin out of his comfort zone. There's certain topics of conversation that will definitely make the Silent Assassin have a voice on these YouTube streets, and this particular topic is one of them. I had the opportunity to see a little bit of I'm not exactly sure exactly what to call it, but there's been a bit of a back and forth between Roy Jones Jr. and Floyd Mayweather. And these two particular individuals are talking about legacies and who had a better career. Now, before I go any further, I'm going to start by letting you guys know. Through and through, Money Mayweather's my guy. Okay? I'm going to let you guys know that. But where I'm coming from is there's absolutely no biasness whatsoever in what I'm about to really talk to you guys about. I'm just giving you guys my personal opinion as an individual who grew up as a big-time boxing fan. Now, honestly speaking, man, no word of a lie. There's absolutely no comparison where it comes down to who had the better career between Roy Jones and Floyd Mayweather. Hands down, Floyd Mayweather had the better career. And the reason why I'm saying that is because of the mere fact of the matter that Floyd Mayweather didn't duck anybody. Floyd Mayweather fought anybody you guys put in front of him to fight. A lot of people are talking about, okay, yeah, he fought a lot of different opponents later on in their careers or whatever the case may be. That had absolutely nothing at all to do with Floyd Mayweather. That was the other individuals' camps that were trying their best to protect their fighters earlier in their careers. For example, a Sugar Shane Mosley. He could have fought Money Mayweather earlier in their career. His handlers didn't want any part of that. Why? Because it would have been a stain on Sugar Shane's career moving forward at the earlier stages. Roy Jones, on the other hand, as great as people might want to say that his career was, as an individual, like I said, growing up as a boxing fan, Roy Jones' career was not very, very impressive. Why? Because Roy Jones handpicked his opponents. To me, Roy Jones was the equivalent of somebody walking through a flower garden and just, wow, yes, that flower right there looks like it's blooming and it smells absolutely beautiful. Give me that flower right there. Oh, that one over there is budding. I want that flower right over there. To us mortal fans, that's exactly what Roy Jones's career looked like to us. And the reason why I could afford to say something like that is because one of my best friends, and I'm going to say it again, one of my best friends fought Roy Jones Jr. And as far as I'm concerned, as a friend, I was more than happy for that opportunity. But as a boxing fan, I personally don't believe that my friend had any business being in a ring with Roy Jones Jr. for the simple fact of the matter that he wasn't even in his weight class. My friend had to move up 2 divisions in order to fight him. So that's the reason why, as far as I was concerned, he was an individual that just handpicked opponents. Why would you have to go to another division to find somebody to challenge you for your title? Don't you have anybody in your own division to challenge you? is a question that us mortal fans ask. Like, between me and you, there could have been a lot more behind the scenes that, as I said, us mortal fans might not have been privy to. Fine and dandy. But at the end of the day, boxing is supposed to be appealing to who? The fans. And we're not talking about the educated boxers or the ex-boxers or whatever the case may be that turned into fans. We're talking about just the mortal fans that aren't out there doing it, but love to watch it. Now, the reason why I'm an individual that feels no way to speak upon boxing is because, as I said, it's something I grew up watching. It's something I grew up loving. And I was an individual that, at times, called certain things right. For example, when George Foreman was gonna, when Michael Moore was gonna fight George Foreman, no, George Foreman was challenging Michael Moore for his title. It was only me and one of my friends that were letting anybody know within the sound of our voice, let them know that Michael Moore is a beautiful boxer. He moves very, very well. But if George Foreman touches him on his chin, he is going to sleep. And no word of a lie. Exactly how, word for word, I had said that fight was going to go is exactly how, word for word, that fight went. Michael Moore looked beautiful throughout the entire fight with his boxing ability because, hey, he was a beautiful boxer. Nice on his feet. But when George Foreman landed one of those clubbing blows on his chin, George Foreman became, if I'm not mistaken, the oldest heavyweight champion. The oldest heavyweight champion. I was one of the individuals, I mean, the only person that could tell me any different is the man upstairs. I was one of those individuals that said that even if Mike Tyson had fought Evander Holyfield at a younger stage, when both of them were in their prime, I was the individual that said, I believe Evander Holyfield would have beat Mike Tyson. He would have been the only individual that would have beat Mike Tyson in his prime. You know, that Mike Tyson that was walking to the ring and knocking everybody out. He wouldn't have been able to have that with a young Evander Holyfield. For the simple fact of the matter that Evander Holyfield, not only could he hit, but he was an excellent boxer. And the only reason why I say the man upstairs is the only person that could tell me any different is because we saw what happened later on when they fought later on in their career. We saw exactly what happened. And if you guys remember anything about anything back then, Evander Holyfield was one of the only individuals that had absolutely no fear for Mike Tyson. Now, individuals out there, if you want to ask me why it is that I have more respect for a Floyd Mayweather than I do for an individual like a Roy Jones Jr., I'll be more than happy to explain it to you. Earlier in Floyd Mayweather's career, I remember this because I remember watching this fight on, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, CBS. Floyd Mayweather fought an individual. I can't remember exactly who it was that he fought. And anybody who watched that fight believed that the other person beat Floyd Mayweather. Anybody, even myself, I'm not going to tell no word of a lie. On that specific day, that individual got the better of Mayweather. He didn't really do much to say like, okay, he hurt him or nothing like that, but he just seemed to have gotten better of Mayweather. Now, the judges and everything, they end up giving Mayweather the victory, obviously, because Mayweather retired 50-0. But there was a lot of a lot of talk behind the scenes after that fight saying, no, the individual got robbed. Mayweather really lost that fight. Now, what I'm used to seeing boxers, especially world-class boxers, such as a Floyd Mayweather or any one of those guys in that category, normally what they do when they know in their heart of hearts that they actually really did lose a fight, but for whatever reason they came on the victorious end of it, what they normally do is move on from that particular individual. Why? Because that particular individual now is a potential danger to what they're trying to accomplish. Floyd Mayweather signed for a rematch with this particular individual. Why? Because of the chitter chatter. And why? Because of the mere fact of the matter that in his heart of hearts, he knew he didn't put his best foot forward on that specific fight. So he fought him again. And when he fought him the second time around, as I said, he retired 50-0. But he left no questions unanswered in that second fight. Now, how am I supposed to not respect somebody like that? I grew up in the era of the marvelous Marvin Haglers and the Sugar Ray Leonards and the Roberto Durans and the Tommy Hearns. So for me to have to start seeing champions such as Oscar De La Hoya refuse to fight fighters and you're a champion, it just never sat well with me. For me to see an individual like a Roy Jones Jr. supposed to be fighting a fighter tonight, but going out and playing a semi-pro basketball the morning of that particular fight, I can't respect that. Why? Because of the mere fact of the matter that having the opportunity to be around boxers, I saw the prep that they put into what they had to do before an up-and-coming fight. And I guarantee you, one thing that they were not doing was exuding a lot of energy the day of a fight. They weren't going out and playing no basketball or nothing like that. They were laid up, relaxing, sleeping, eating very lightly. If there was some more weight that they had to shed, they were trying to do what they had to do in order to do that. Why? Because this was a profession to them. This wasn't just some kind of leisure time. I don't care how good Roy Jones might have been at boxing at that particular point in time. You're disrespecting the sport by doing stuff like that, in my humble opinion. And remember, as I said, I'm just a humble fan. Yeah, you remember when you fought the dude from right out here in Montreal. If I'm not mistaken, his name was Eric Luca. Yeah, you went out and played a semi-pro basketball game before that. And a lot of people were saying, oh yeah, wow, that's impressive. To me, that just means that you're an individual that's hand-picking opponents. Because I guarantee you, if you were fighting Bernard Hopkins that night, you would have been laid up in bed, making sure you're restoring as much energy as possible. If you were fighting any other world-class opponent on that specific evening, would you have done that? No. Absolutely not. And the reason why it burnt me so much is because you were doing it to a fighter that was from here. He may not have been one of my fighters. May not have been one of my fighters that I followed his career, but he was from here. You were disrespecting a fighter from here. So to me, I took that a little bit personal as you disrespecting the city. Trying to say the city ain't got no fighters out here. That's how I took that at that particular point in time. Where other people were giving you stardom off of something like that, I took it as disrespect. Now, to some individuals, you had a very, very successful career, which is quite all right. I can understand how people could see that. I personally don't think you did enough body of work or fought enough quality opponents in order to be in the same conversation with a Floyd Mayweather. That's just my humble opinion. And not because Floyd Mayweather is my guy is the reason why I'm up here exercising this particular opinion. I'm exercising it on the body of work. And with that being said, people, I want you guys to share, like, subscribe to this channel. I help this channel grow. Double Innocence, a.k.a. the Silent Assassin, is out. I'm also going to be putting up some videos. You know, the Silent Assassin is going to be putting up some videos, some footage of some old fights of Floyd Mayweather and some old fights of Roy Jones Jr. And you guys out there in the comment section, you let me know who you think had a better career between the two fighters. Have yourself a blessed Saturday, people. Deuces.